Thank you for joining us, the Black Summit. I'm Hendricks.
And I'm Brooks. We're back here today with you guys. This is going to be a real, raw podcast. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even prepare for this. So it's going to be interesting. We're talking about a very serious matter today. And so I'm going to be honest, I've tried to stay away from this story. Just because, I don't know, I feel like, we've seen it so many times, and it's almost, for me, it was sad to even think about, or to even touch, or to even come in here and talk about. And so I didn't really prepare anything. I honestly I don't even know what all transpired. I didn't watch the video.
Oh, you never watched the video?
I watched a little bit of it, not the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there was like a 5-second clip that I watched, and that was it. But there's a lot that I have missed because I heard people talking about the video and all what transpired inside of the video. And to be honest with you, I don't even want to, go and look at that because I don't know. For me, it's like it's trauma. It's traumatizing, and so I'll be real with you. I don't think I can really handle watching stuff like that anymore. I know some people are like, oh well, we're starting to get used to it, and I'm like, how do you get used to something like that? How do you how to
You should never get used to something like that.
Even if you saw it a bunch, you know what I mean? Even if you saw it a lot, how do you even get used to that? I mean, for me, it's I can't do that anymore. I can't watch those anymore. It's
sad because, and honestly, you're right. You shouldn't get used to something like that.
We should probably say what we're talking about, by the way.
Well, we'll tell them in a sec. But
yeah.
You shouldn't get used to something like that. But being social media, you see it so much. People become desensitized to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is not right. But Brooks is right. We should tell you. We're actually talking about, for all of you, I'm sure everyone knows and they've seen the video. We're talking about Tyre Nichols, who was beaten and later, I think, died 3 days later by 4 police officer in Memphis. So we're talking about that particular subject, and it's tragic. I mean, it's very tragic.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I think when I saw that it was black people too who did it, which it really doesn't matter, right? But
right.
I think in this context and this day and age that we are in, it does matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
when you, I get it. Yeah, it's a policeman, but also when it's your own, something about this just stings.
Yeah.
A little bit more than anything else.
Yeah, it hits different.
It definitely hits different.
Because
so.
I mean, and that's what a lot of people wanted to see. Police officers that look like themselves, that come from the same neighborhood that we come from, and figuring that, people that look like us will get a more fair shake than dealing with a police officer from a different race, which, and then turns out that you reach the same demise from someone that looks like you that you would normally get profiled by a police officer that doesn't look like you, I mean, it's like you can't win for losing.
Yeah.
I think it's like, for some, once they, regardless, race, color, creed, whatever, once they cross over and, as they say, that blue wall, and then that blue wall, that code of silence, I think they figure, okay, we just blue. I'm not black, I'm not Asian, I'm not white, I'm not Hispanic. Just blue. Because I've even seen videos of, Hispanic cops in New York beating up other Hispanics and, of course, beating up blacks. But, I haven't seen videos where they attack white. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but have you seen any?
Not really.
Exactly.
Because I think there would be consequences for them.
Right, exactly.
If a black cop is beating up a white young boy, you know, I think the powers that be, right? Because they would probably look at that person as a son or something, would have a problem with that. And I think that's really why. I mean, we can get in more into the story and whatnot, but I think that's mainly why I feel like black people haven't really gotten a fair shake, is because, there's been a lack of empathy. There's been a lack of people really feeling like they can connect, I feel like, to black people in a way, especially white people mainly, is what I'm talking about. Especially those who are of affluent nature, of an affluent nature. And so, like, if, they don't look at them as like, oh yeah, that could be my kid, and they look at them as, oh, that's just the thug from down the street.
So you don't think that they look at blacks as actually human, being human?
I think they, in one context, yes. They know we're humans, obviously, right?
Obviously, right.
But like they just don't think of us. They can't see us as like their own kids or their brother or their sister or their mother or their father. They look at us differently, and especially if you're a young black guy in America. And so I think they just look at you differently, There is no empathy. There is no, that could be my brother. Oh, that could be my sister. Oh, this could be, my son, This could be my nephew. And so, yeah.
But let's go a little bit further into this. So, okay.
Yeah, let us know about, for people who don't know what has happened.
So he, of course, the video's out there, everyone's seen it, and so it's alleged traffic stop. Why they stopped him? Now there's speculation that's saying he wasn't driving recklessly, and then there was saying rumors that one of the cops was saying that when Tyre Nichols at work at FedEx, allegedly messing with his ex or something like that. But his father debunked that and shot that down. Said that has to be false. So and they just recently had his funeral when I think it was a couple of days ago, I believe. And so they had Reverend Al Sharpton and Vice President Kamala Harris. They came out and said a few words and things like that.
Did Al Sharpton did the eulogy?
Yeah, he did the eulogy. Okay. And matter of fact, if I can pull up a clip of what he said. He gave he gave a real good eulogy, actually.
Good.
It's a real good eulogy.
This brother could have been anybody, really, But to know that because I think there was a story that was talking about how he was going out and taking photos.
Yeah, he loved skateboarding, and he loved, they said...
photography, right?
Yeah, sunrises or sunsets.
Right.
So, yeah.
And he had like a camera, and he was taking...
Right, yeah.
I mean, for me, like, being in the industry that we're in, it's kind of like, dang, that could have been us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Easily.
Being in the film industry and, like, I work with photographers all the time, and, I mean, he was just anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he was just going out and taking some photos, and he gets stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of crazy to me, man. Like I said, I haven't watched the video. I haven't really delved into it as much. But you know, I think as a black guy in America, when I get stopped, you know, I'm gonna try my best to get home at the day.
Let me ask you this.
And
again,
I don't know what all transpired.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Being that these are, four black guys, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you get stopped, of course, by a cop, you're going to feel nervous or whatever. Now, if you get stopped by a cop, if he's black versus white, do you still feel nervous?
I don't, I personally don't feel nervous when I get stopped by a cop. I mean, I get nervous in the fact that maybe like I might get a ticket or something, but not that a violent act is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not that I'm gonna get pulled out of my car and they're gonna start beating me, but I personally, wouldn't be afraid if it was a black cop, but I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I see what you're saying. You figure, okay, it's a black cop, you understand. I mean, and not making no excuse for the cop.
Yeah.
Cops have bad days too. So,
right.
Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever you.
Well, this isn't. I'm not against cops.
Yeah. You just don't know.
I'm against bad cops.
Right. And there are a lot of bad cops. And then they said this was they call them the Scorpion unit.
Yeah. First of all, if you have a name like that, there's something going on with that unit.
Right. And they said they weren't keeping the peace. So hold on, let me let you hear a little bit of.
That there's needs to deal with crime, but you don't fight crime by becoming criminals yourself. You don't stand up to thugs in the street, becoming thugs yourself. You don't fight gangs by becoming 5 armed men against an unarmed man. That ain't the police, that's punks.
Amen.
My bad. So there was five cops, not 4. Now this is what Vice President Kamala Harris.
I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it, and we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
So yeah, what do you feel? You think that Vice President Kamala Harris was earnest, or you think that was a political moment? Of course, everything politicians.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to get into her because then I'll start criticizing her. Because I mean,
just this moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I think what she said is right. We do need to pass that bill. There's no doubt. Like, what happened to this bill? How did this bill not get signed? I mean, people swept that thing underneath the rug and didn't put it through. Like, what? I mean, what's sad is that it takes something like this, something catastrophic, to happen again for us to bring up this bill again. And you know what? It probably won't get signed.
Who's blocking it?
And
who's blocking the bill?
I don't know who's blocking it. Because don't they have the majority?
People in the Democratic Party.
Wait a minute, don't they have the majority?
They do, but
okay.
You got is it Chuck Schumer? Is he Sinema, Manchin? Maybe not Chuck. No, I'm sorry, not Chuck Schumer. Sinema, Manchin. I believe they are the ones who's blocking, and they are Democrats. They're blocking the bill.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
They're blocking
here's another
the
thing.
bill.
We don't know what's all in that bill, right? I mean, there could be some other, because, you know, the way that these Congress women and men do this is that they try to sneak things in there that ain't supposed to be in there. They
do,
and
but
so
the main part of the bill, I'll
Yeah.
read to you what the bill is, right?
Okay.
What the meat of the bill is, right? The George Floyd Justice Policing Act said the legislation aims to combat police misconduct, excessive force, and racial bias policing, to hold law enforcement accountable for misconduct in court, improve transparency through data collection, and reform police training and policies. That's pretty much, what the bill is.
yeah, that should be signed tomorrow. Like, what are we doing? I mean, like I said, it takes another tragedy to happen for us to bring this up again. That should not be happening, Like, we should have. This should have been signed back when the George Floyd thing happened.
Do you think it will get signed? Or is the question.
I don't know. I haven't really delved into the politics of this. I don't know who's on what side. Like I done forgot who Cinema is.
Cinema and Manchin.
Yeah. Joe Manchin's West Virginia, right?
Yeah. No.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so.
I don't know who Cinema's with.
Yeah, it's been a while since I really delve into the politics realm. But yeah, they've had the majority. I mean, we got to figure out how to just push this thing through. Like,
I'll just close
they need to fight.
So I'll just close.
Sorry.
They need to fight for just in the way that they fight for anything else. They need to fight just as hard and try to get these votes and get this thing passed. Like the way that they, people are spinning that Joe Biden is people are spinning that Joe Biden is a deal maker and he's like passed all these bills. It's like, okay, get this one passed. Get down there. Why don't you go down to Congress like you did for these other bills and get this thing passed? Because this is big time.
Right.
I mean, how can we sign in an Asian bill? And maybe I shouldn't talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
How can we sign in an Asian bill?
Executive order. Yeah.
An executive order Asian bill.
Yeah.
To fight Asian hate, and we can't sign something for the black people.
Right.
And
so President Biden
that gets into a whole nother thing.
President Biden released a statement.
And then I got people saying that like Joe Biden's doing great, and a lot of them are black people.
Well let me read you the statement that he released. Yeah. I know you're passionate. I know you're feeling it, brother. I know you about to take us to church. Released a statement regarding Tyre Nichols, saying Tyre family deserve a swift and full, transparent investigation into his death. And he said, Jill and I extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Tyre Nichols and the entire Memphis community. Tyre's family deserves a swift, full, and transparent investigation into his death. You see, that's just, a brief summary of what he said, but you see how fast they convicted these five cops.
Yeah.
With due process. So what's to say going forward in the future, they can't convict cops just as fast? You know what I mean? So do you
think that they did that because they were black cops?
Honestly, I think that has a lot to do with it. There was another situation where a cop, I don't know the exact details. He was a foreign guy. You may hear about this, and I think he shot a white woman and killed her, right? I don't know what the situation was. I don't know if she was coming at him. He felt threatened. They say they fear for their lives and things like that. So I don't know what he said. And they fired him and they arrested him quick. I mean, I don't know what the situation was, but he shot the woman. I don't know if she was coming at him or whatever. If y'all know, look it up. and but he got arrested real quick, you know. So, but then here in South Carolina with Walter Scott, the cop at first, remember when he got shot in the back, they wasn't going to arrest, and I forgot the cop's name. You remember his name?
No.
Yeah, but I know at first they wasn't.
Let's not give him any play.
But they wasn't going to convict him, like you said, until they saw that video.
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly wanted to ask a cop. Yeah, when I saw that, like, if the person, and I get it, if they're running away from you, even if you got probable cause to stop them, whatever, does that warrant for you to shoot them? Because now you can't use the argument you felt threatened for your life. Because if you were threatened, the threat is
I just feel
running
like
away from you.
I just feel like we can't get to that point as black people. You can't run. You can't run. You cannot run.
You run, you get shot. You stay, you get shot.
I know, but that's to me that escalates a little bit. Like, don't run. I mean,
do you think
you'll never see me run ever?
Right.
If a cop has me stopped.
But if a person does run, do you think that gives them the right to shoot them in the back?
No, obviously not. Right? But this is the third time that I can think of, and I'm sure it's happened more times, but this is the third time. The brother here in South Carolina. Then you had the young brother who was in the car who got shot by the white woman. I can't remember his name. He was driving away, and she thought she was going for a taser, and she grabbed her gun.
Oh, right.
And then now this.
Yeah.
You know, and I haven't seen the video. I haven't delved into what's happened, what's all happened in this case. But the fact that he ran, you know, you cannot run. You can't do it. And you can't, I feel like you can't even talk back to these guys. You know, like I'll never.
If you're black, you can't.
I'll never, ever talk about what my rights are. Now, if they're trying to search my trunk, okay, yeah, warrant, right? But you kind of have to just go along with what they're saying, because in that moment, whether you realize it or not, they have the ability to take you off this earth. And your number one job, your number one thing should be, I just want to go home. That's, for me, that's what I will never do anything that will take me away from my family, away from the people I love the most. At the end of the day, I'm trying to go home. Yeah. And so I'm not going to walk around and talk about these are my rights. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to do all of these things. And this may sound like I'm like some kind of Uncle Tom or some shit. But like, no, I'm just saying that like at the end of the day, I'm just trying to go home. Yeah. And so whatever it takes for me to get home, you know, I'm not trying to have a confrontational moment with a police officer who in that moment has the authority and in that moment has the power to take me off of this earth. And so I'm
going to interject.
Yeah, go ahead.
Every Ando Castillo, Tamir Rice, all these people wanted to go home, you know? And I agree with you. You just want to go home. But, you know, their civil rights were violated, so their lives were cut short. And then I have seen videos where there were some blacks. Of course, it wasn't like a hostile situation. The cops were clearly fishing for something, and some blacks, they actually knew the law, knew their rights. And they was able to get some cops to step down because they didn't know the law like they knew the law. They say always know the law, know your rights, know what you can and you can't do, but you're 100% right. Is to get home, sometimes you won't win on the streets, you'll win in the court of law, right? To know your rights, to get home. And then I have seen videos where white men blatantly curse the cops out, don't pull out no weapon, anything, sit there and threaten them, say they will kill them. Anybody, you all can pull it up. Any video with cop confrontation with white men. There was one particular video, one white guy, he stole a cop's car. And they were like, sir, don't do that, sir. Please, sir, don't. You know, they were treating him with the utmost respect. Another
Right.
video, the guy had a gun. He said, "Don't put your hand on the gun. Don't put your hand on the gun." You know, and he had a gun. No weapons drawn, nothing. You know, it's just automatic threat. And majority of the black people that they kill don't even have a weapon. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that's true.
You know, and I'm not trying to say that all black people are squeaky clean. Some people may deserve to go to jail, but to go to jail, they don't deserve to have their life cut short. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying Tyre Nichols was one of those people who had deserved to go to jail. So it was allegedly now they're looking back and saying he may not haven't even been reckless driving. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, which is
whatever
crazy, man.
vendetta they had, you know, it's crazy. So they all are tried for second-degree murder. Now they probably will get convicted. How
They
long
should
will
get
they?
convicted.
How long will they serve? That is yet to be seen. You know, so
Well, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, if you go and talk to any black person,
Mm-hmm.
they will tell you that they feel like the world, the system that we've kind of have here in America
Mm-hmm.
is not built for black people. Would you agree on that?
You know, honestly, I disagree.
You don't think that most black people would say that?
No. I think they will say that.
Okay.
But I disagree that the system isn't built for black people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why.
No, I probably agree with you on that. But go
Okay.
ahead.
The system is designed for anybody to win. I mean, that's why you have foreigners come to America. It's for a better way of life, right?
Right.
The system is designed for you, me, white, Asian, East, Pacific Islander, whomever. It's designed for everybody to win. It's just the problem lies in when those who are in charge of the system don't give everybody that same, extend that same gratitude that they give to counterparts who look like them. So just the fact that when people look like us through the judicial system and things like that, you can have a white and black do the same crime, whereas a black could get more crime, or some white people, may get a slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So in a way, it is rigged against us.
Because they rigged it.
Okay.
It's just like, okay, for example, just like if we playing Monopoly and I'm over the board, right? Say you and say two other guys, right? You come to sit down and play. I automatically give you 5,000. I may give another guy, let's say I decide to give him 300. This other guy, I give him nothing, right? You all play. I give you 5,300, he has nothing. You 5,000 ahead of him, right? And you are like $4,700 ahead of this other guy, right? Over the whole system, right?
Okay.
Now, so that's how it's rigged. Now, granted, the game is designed for all y'all to eat, all y'all to win. But if I'm over it and I'm overseeing who gets the fair shake or who gets the property, the boardwalk, the railroad, and things like that, that's the system. That's America.
So you agreed it's kind of rigged against black people?
Yes, because they rigged it.
Okay. With that in mind, I feel like we can't, because you just talked about how like there were a lot of white people who got away with things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like personally, we as black people have to realize that the system the system is rigged against us. And so we cannot be like all of the other white people.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Unless if you OJ.
And so that's what I'm trying to say is like when you get stopped by a cop, it's like you can't go with the benefit of the doubt that the police officer is going to give you the benefit of the doubt. If that makes any sense. Okay? And so what you have to do,
Just play nice.
for me, I'm not saying that like you can't, say, hey, like if you want to go into my trunk, you have to have a warrant.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you kind of have to go in knowing that
It's not going to be fair towards
it's not going to be fair.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's how I kind of approach things.
So if they ask you, they pull you over and say, okay, they pull you over for whatever reason, may give you a bullshit excuse or whatever, because that has happened to me. It has happened to a lot of people. So, and if they give you bullshit, then they're like, they start saying, hey, so can I search your car? Or what are you gonna say?
Well, I'm probably gonna say no on that.
Why are you gonna say no?
I again, like if they're trying to get into my trunk, I'm gonna say you need a warrant. You know what I mean? So if they're, so that's how I would do that.
So why but I mean, they need a warrant, of course.
Right.
But why you won't let them search your car? Tell me why.
Because there's no need to. Now, if there was no need
as far
to,
as you're concerned, I'm the cop.
Okay.
You telling me there's no need to, but why there's no need to, Brooks?
Well, there's no need to search my car, I feel like. And so, if they wanted to, I could ask for a warrant, basically.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, like if they're, if they ask me to get out of the car, which is another situation, I'll do what they tell me to do. If they ask me for, which most times, it's just about your driver's license and registration, and insurance. I'll give them all of that. I'll give them everything that, that they ask for, really, and that's what you have to do. You have to.
If you're operating a vehicle.
You have to de-escalate.
But do you have to talk to them? Tell me that.
Yeah, I think that...
Do you have to answer their questions?
You don't have to, but I would, in the best interest of me going home at the end of the day, answer their questions and talk to the police. Because what happens is that starts a confrontation. If a cop comes up to you and says, hey, roll down your window, let's talk, give me your license and registration and whatnot, and they start asking you questions and you start saying, oh, I can't answer that. That's a confrontation, man. I mean, and that's how things, and what happens is those little moments, they start to build on each other. They start to build on each other, and they start to build on each other. And the next thing you know, you're out on the ground, and a situation is turning into something it doesn't have to be. And then you can never catch up. And so, and too many times I've seen that with these situations where it just starts with one little thing and then it turns into something big.
Bigger. If you're operating a vehicle, you have to give them your license and registration, but you don't necessarily have to answer any. As long as you give them a license,
True, but
like
don't you agree that can turn into a whole nother situation?
It can. But one, you're not showing hostility. You're just sitting there, no, here's my license registration. I'm not gonna say that. Just, I got my hands on wheels. What is it? The 9 and the 3 or whatever, what have you. You got your hands on the wheel. Don't say anything. All right, I'll be right back. And if they write you a ticket, they write you a ticket. If not, they don't, or whatever. They got to tell you why they stop you and things like that. So I saw a video with a lawyer. It's white lawyers, and they pretty much said, shut the fuck up. If you walking down the street or you walk, any cop stop you and they ask you this and that and the third, he said, don't say nothing, don't answer anything. Even if you had your own lawyer, they would tell you, do not talk to the police. Because they can legally lie and they can try to trip you and say, they may say, oh, you fit the description. And it may be someone maybe close to your description, but it may put you in a certain vicinity, a certain place that you may not have nothing to do with whatever situation. And you may be saying some things that incriminate yourself without even knowing, right? So they can legally lie, That's one of the things they did with the Central Park 5 to get those kids.
Right.
Right? So they said, don't say anything. What you say is, am I being detained? They say, no, am I free to go? Then leave. If you're out, you don't have to give them, if you're operating a vehicle, you have to show ID, of course. You gotta have license. If you're just out, say you're walking in the parking lot, hey, get some ID. You don't have to give them no ID. You don't need ID to walk in a public street and things like that, So, just know the law, try to be respectful even if they're not. Like the army officer that they pulled over and harassed and threw him out the car, right? Recent video, and he sued them, and they only gave him like $3,000. They awarded him $3,000 and that was luckily he's still alive, but still they humiliated this man. He was in uniform, and those were white cops too. You know what I'm saying? So I think some people, they just feel that they're above the law.
Yeah, you know.
So
you just have to de-escalate. That's the key. I mean, I had a situation years ago during Hurricane Sandy, and basically it was the day after Hurricane Sandy, and I took out my camera. And we were going around filming kind of the damage that was happening in the neighborhood. Like, that was a big hurricane.
Where were you?
We were up in Jersey. And like our fence had been knocked down. Down the street there was this really big tree. I'll never forget that. And that's really what I wanted to go and film, was the big tree that had fallen into the center of the street. And like, so they had crews and stuff out there and whatnot, cleaning that up. And so we really loved the town that we were living in. It was this nice little town in Jersey, and it had like a little main street, and like there was a bunch of like events you could go and do and whatnot. And so I just wanted to go and just film the damage that had happened. So it was me, it was one of my sisters, and my niece and my nephew. And so we're walking down the street, just minding our own business. And, again, I'm filming the damage, and this cop car pulls up beside us. And he like stops us and he says, hey, wait a minute. I need to talk to you. Okay. And then he like goes over his radio and he like calls other police officers over there. And so these other two cops pull up. First of all, we're already, standing there on the sidewalk. And then all of a sudden, one cop car comes over here and one cop car is over here.
They had you surrounded?
So it was on our left and our right. We were surrounded, basically. And there's a cop right here in front of us. And there was nowhere we could go. And my niece and nephew are like sitting there scared. And like, we were like,
how old were your niece
like,
and
listen,
nephew?
At the time, man, they were like maybe 8 and 9, like really young. And I mean, I was like maybe 16 at the time.
I'm sure you were a big 16.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so this cop he's like, why are you guys walking down the street? And I'm like, well, I'm like, walking down the street with, my family here. Like, we're not doing anything. Like, why are you guys filming? Why are you filming stuff? I was like, well, I mean, we just had a big hurricane. I'm filming the damage. And he's like, well, we got a report of people that look like you stealing generators.
You fit the description.
I was like,
everybody black
what?
fits the description.
I was like, what?
You were walking and filming while black. That's
first of all, we had just started walking, and it was like, what do you mean we fit the description for people who were stealing generators? And like at the time, that could have escalated into something else because, we could have ran at that moment, like when he was trying to bother us. But, I just kind of sat there and just talked to him. And I was like, listen, we ain't trying to steal nothing. I could show you right now on my camera. I'm filming the damage. This is my niece and nephew. This is my sister. We're just walking through the neighborhood, man. I just de-escalated the situation.
Did you buck at him like that? Look, we ain't doing nothing. Did you do that?
No. I mean, I just, I very calmly, very sternly told him, hey, we're just doing our own thing.
What did the cop do? What did he say?
He was like, oh, well, we just got the call and you guys fit the description. And it was a black guy too.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I didn't
It's
talk
blue.
about that.
Yeah.
It's a black dude that's sitting there, trying to tell us about this. I was like, are you kidding me, man? And he's like, yeah, well, you guys need to be careful about walking around here. I was like, okay.
I would say, well, if something happens, I'll have the footage and I'll be glad to share it with you. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, and they ended up letting us go, long story short. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't go home after that. I was like, listen, we're going in the main street. Like, we're going to go walk around the streets. And finish filming. I'm not going to let somebody intimidate me, and think that they can just pull us over at any time and whatnot. But, it's all about de-escalation, because that could have turned into something bad. And I had my niece and nephew there. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. At the time, I don't think they've ever been stopped like that before. And so, I mean, these cops, man, it can be kind of crazy, and I get that, It's just a matter of how you handle it and what you do in the moment, because that could have been bad. It could have been bad. So,
yeah, good thing you
at the end of the day, it's about getting home.
Cooler heads prevailed, so that's a good thing that you kept your composure and remained calm, because like you said, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Over something. Trust me, people got killed over loose cigarettes, selling, CDs, bootleg CDs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
over the smallest things, right?
Thing. We get killed over the smallest, the simplest of things, we get killed for. With the one guy, he was in his apartment eating ice cream, and the cop broke in, remember? And she killed him in his own apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mm. So, I mean, and I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember her name, but she was in the bed, and they had the wrong place, and they shot her. And
yep.
So yeah, the simplest things, man. Yeah. So let's wrap it, man. Okay. Just be careful.
Yeah, just be careful out there.
Yeah, just be careful.
It can be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that at the end of the day, like, this bill gets passed, and
yeah, I hope so too.
We can resolve these things.
Yeah, hopefully. Seem like the further we go, the further we come back, man. So
yeah,
and how condolences go out to
him and
his family,
yeah,
and everyone who was touched, and people who had to witness this and in the news and the media, and how it affected you mentally as well. Hearts and prayers go out to everyone, man. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is Black Summit. I'm Hendricks.
I'm Brooks.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.